Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me in the co-host seats, as always, are our good friends Angela Rose
Hello.
and Darren Starling.
Yellow.
We want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you by KC Fox for all of your artwork, cosplay, and photography needs. Be sure to check out KC Fox, that's KAYCIFOXX, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We're also brought to you by Darren.
Yep.
I was just like, yep. Good evening, John and Sharka. Thank you guys for tuning in. We want to thank everybody who tuned in last week for our 2 3-hour live streams from Railcity Fanfest. It was awesome to have Angela on hand for the convention, and it was an honor and a pleasure to host Christy Rothrock at the convention. And we had a ton of fun out there. Christy is just such a ball of fun. Very animated, and it sounds funny to call a voice actor animated, but she was so energetic and just made watching her interact with the fans and stuff was just amazing. I know that Angela, you and I talked about that quite a few times about that on Saturday when you were there.
Yep, just watching the interactions with everybody, it was something else. Just everybody was excited to be there. Everybody was super chill and awesome, and overall it was a fantastic time.
And again, thank you to everybody who tuned into the live stream. It was fun having my wife Angela and I all sitting down looking back at past shows, trying to figure out what shows do well, what shows don't, and things of that nature. And we had a ton of views.
To answer John's question, Tuesday is the 4th of July. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Can you believe it? It seems like just last week we were all complaining about, snow. Not really, but it feels like it.
Yeah.
I just can't believe half the year's gone.
That too.
And to give numbers of how things went, day one views, we had 49 views on day one from Railcity. On day two, we had 70 views. So big shout out to everybody who tuned in to check out those videos live from the convention. It is insane that it's July. Don't remind me because I start my new job in 8 days.
I start mine 2 weeks from tomorrow, but,
And congratulations to Angela on getting a new job. Which I know you were talking about last live show we did outside of the stream about that you might have some time off in the summer to do some fun things and some show stuff. And congratulations on having a new position offered to you, and definitely push it. Best of luck.
2 weeks off to do some me things, among other things. I'll be figuring out how to get an AZR website off the ground, so stay tuned for that.
And we could be seeing broadcasting expansions. We've got some people that we're talking about teaming up on another network as well. So
that's a big possibility, but nothing is guaranteed. So, but once things settle down a bit, I will reach out to them again, and we'll figure it all out, hopefully.
And speaking of them, a wonderful guest announcement. I don't know what I did with my pen.
Don't worry, we're losing at work every single day.
But we do have an awesome, awesome guest that will be joining us on July 30th. And we are going to be welcoming Token with the Dead guys. And They are just so much fun to talk with. And that's going to probably be like an 18 plus show or viewer discretion is advised show because kind of like Julia, you don't know what they're going to say.
It can't be any worse than one of your other friends.
Let's just say my kind of humor.
But I wanted to start off the show tonight about reviewing Railcity Fanfest, and I've talked highly of this con for the last year, but I was curious about your impression of it, Angela. I know this was your first time going there. You were only available to be there Saturday, which was technically the slower of the 2 days. But what was your experience?
My experience was really, really positive. To see the con chair running around, making sure everyone else is taken care of. It was a big deal. Like everything from everything from announcing over the PA when there was food and whatnot available for the vendors, to actually going around and checking in with individual tables to make sure everything was okay. Did people need anything? Just to the overall positive vibes.
And it was it's one of those cons. Yes, it's a small convention. Yes, it's only its second year, but Luke is doing it, in my opinion, he's trying to do the convention the right way.
The right way for what they want. Because there's
go ahead.
They're not trying to grow too big too fast, which is a huge thing. But there's definitely more than one right way to grow an event.
Oh yeah. And that's what I was going to say is, he knows that he doesn't want to, like, for year 3, he may not have enough money to bring a guest in, or maybe he'd be able to bring in, because I talked with him a little bit about maybe looking into some local celebrities that live in Vermont. Maybe seeing if they'd be interested in coming up for free table or whatever they work out. I'm not saying that that's a definite or not, but it's definitely an angle he can look at, because bringing Christy in how we did definitely drew more people to the con, and it was exciting to see that. It was exciting to see the fans' interaction with Christy and see Christy's interaction with some of the vendors. And I know Angela got to have some fun with one of the other guests at the con.
Yep, that was a lot of fun.
That was your first time meeting Bill Diamond, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And that was just awesome. That was just an awesome experience overall. That was my my early childhood right there.
I think a lot of our childhoods were sitting at that booth across from us.
I think, honestly, one of the downsides was just as simple as scheduling. And that might just be as simple as that's the only weekend he could get the venue.
Yep.
But with it being, with the Vermont Ren Fair being that Saturday, with PortCon Maine being that weekend.
And there was a lot of events going on, but the fact that he was able to double in size from year 1 to year 2, that's still quite the accomplishment, especially in nowhere Vermont that people don't really know about, and it's pretty far up north.
I feel like if PortCon Maine wasn't the same weekend, you might have gotten some of the anime fans that would have driven, that are willing to drive up there. but that's largely speculation on my part, based on my past experiences with localized regional events.
Oh yeah, I think one of the fun parts too was, and we talked about this a little bit before coming on the air, but watching Christie's genuine excitement about meeting the fans, and every now and then we just hear her bust into a character voice. Not once did we even ask her to do a character voice, and you could, if you listen or if you watch the streams, you'll hear her go into a Lulu's voice or voice from like One Piece or some of the other characters she's done.
And to see her genuine surprise with what some people recognized.
And we also had to send her off on Sunday with some real Vermont maple syrup. couldn't send her back. If she's in Vermont, she has to have the real stuff, not the fake stuff you find at the stores.
I will 100. As much as I dislike maple syrup as well as pancake syrup, I can agree with that.
And it was like all weekend long. The interactions were great. The vendors were genuinely happy to be there. Everybody knows a small con, a second year con, you're not going to go there and make Anime Boston money. You want to go, you want to make some sales, you want to make some connections and have some fun. And I know, Darren, you really haven't done much in the way of smaller cons because the two you go to are decent sized or bigger conventions, right?
Correct. I mean, bigger conventions, as in how many people plus would you consider a bigger convention?
Small for me, small conventions are like 500 to 1,000. Medium conventions are 1,000 to like 5,000, and large scale is 5,000 up.
About to say, because Anime-Zing pulls about 10 to 13,000, and SuperCon about 50,000.
I think the largest convention that I attend on a regular basis is Anime Boston. I think KatsuCon beats that in numbers, but I've only been to that con once.
Katsu and Otakon, I believe, are the two big ones in the greater, I'll call it Northeast. Although, for a newer con, Anime New York City is up there as well.
Yeah.
But Anime Boston's still pretty up there. It's just,
I mean, 25 to 30,000 on average.
yeah.
It's still a good crowd.
And then you get the nonsense like Anime Expo.
Yep. I will be right back. I realized I had ice cream out and forgot that it was sitting beside me. I gotta put that back in the freezer.
Thank you for reminding me. I have ice cream I need to steal out of the freezer at work.
I was gonna say, or eat it.
I'm not gonna eat it on air. It is the little My Mochi ice cream balls.
Oh, those are delightful.
Yeah, I don't want them to go to waste, so I'm putting them back in the freezer. So I'll be right back.
Ugh. I'd take one.
Same here.
Because mochi ice cream is delightful.
Never had it. There's a lot of things I haven't done.
I don't know if your supermarkets, do your supermarkets and stores get a lot of import?
I haven't been in a grocery store in almost 3 years.
Do you get your shit delivered, or do you just eat everything out?
My work accounts for a decent amount of my food as well as eating out because I'm constantly outside of work, but also with my parents having a dropping by every now and then. So
and they bring you stuff?
Yeah. So I rarely ever have to go to the grocery store.
Because up here, up here, granted, I live in a very college area, very private college area. So lots of international students, therefore lots of international
Markets.
markets and things of that nature. And mochi ice cream uh, is one of those things we can get easily, and it's delicious.
Well, I do know that one of the places I go to from time to time, Northern Tool, the Grand Asian Market is right next to it. And I think I had to go in there once or twice in the past. Have never really took the time to walk around and see what all they had. But
Um,
but also working with Hispanics, I aside from the super hot stuff, they bring in all kinds of stuff and cook it up in the store. So there's another source of my food because they know how to cook, and it's hard to turn down anything they cook because they make anything taste good.
and that is 100% fair.
Yeah,
No, if it's Latinos know how to cook, as do Brazilians, and
and the Amish. That's going to be my downfall. Is moving to Pennsylvania. I'm going to be in Amish country, and I already know I'm probably going to gain about 10 pounds.
um, if you get the chance, go to Gettysburg.
Oh, I've been there.
So have I. Oh, okay. Well, we're completely derailed anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share this. Doug,
HH, HH says I would say the only thing that would get me to Boston willingly are the food markets.
the food markets are worth it.
We're making everyone hungry in chat, I think.
But I'm a city person. I love being here. But one of the YouTube videos we watched, Doug, before coming on air, was there's a model train railroad system that you could go visit. It's like it's 1/8 scale out in Oregon, and we watched a video, a train enthusiast video.
That's cool. 1/8 live stream.
Yes.
I'm sure that doesn't surprise you. I'm like, wait, that sounds like about, and you can ride it.
Yes, because he
Yeah.
did.
I know some people in the Boston area that used to do that.
This is out in Oregon, so opposite coast. But it's called Train Mountain.
That's cool.
But we were watching that, and my first reaction was, I got to remember to tell Doug this.
Of course. But getting back on topic of Railcity, getting back on the Railcity topic, we went from trains back to Railcity. St. Albans is known as Railcity because of all the railroads that go through. It was founded because of railroads way back in the day, which is why the con was called Railcity. And like as you could probably tell from the video, for those of you who tuned into the live stream, not the biggest venue, not the most extravagant venue. We were in indoor tennis courts. It was hot on Saturday. Thank God the neighbor on the other side of Casey Fox had brought fans. Not that we really could feel him very well, but Casey was happy. And we were mentioned Bill Diamond earlier. Angela actually got to have her picture taken with one of her movie heroes, which I know you were at first. You're like, I'm not gonna do that, and then we kind of coaxed you into getting your picture taken with it.
Yep.
And you have no regrets of having your picture taken.
No, I don't. And I'm gonna need to wait to do that. The downside, I am having to relog into everything on different machines. C'est la vie. I'll do that later.
Yeah. And it was kind of neat because Angela got to meet some of the Vermont vendors that Casey and I have known for years. And we've had Rick from Nerd Urbanity on the show before. He had won the interview with Josie McCoy from Railcity last year. He knew about us trying to get a voice actor to the con. So he came bearing gifts, which none of us were expecting. I was absolutely like speechless on Saturday when I walked over to say hi. Just walked over to his table to say hi to him. Angela was there with me, and we went over. Hi, how you been? How's the family? Stuff like that. He reaches into a box and hands me the Lucia Elfrieden Nendroid, or Alicia Elfrieden Nendroid. And Angela can even vouch that I was getting ready to ask how much as I went reaching for my wallet, and he goes, "No, that's yours." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yep.
He goes, "I heard you talking about it on the podcast, so I ordered one for you." No, don't do that. I'll tell everybody I don't do this show to get free stuff.
And the funny thing is, what I'm probably going to end up doing around the holiday time is he had on. Now, a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, loves Transformers. That's his thing. And they had some model kit build Transformers. And at the time, a few things were uncertain, so I didn't get it for my buddy. But I'm probably going to go back and get it at Christmas time, because by then everything will have already taken care of itself.
Mm-hmm. So definitely check out Nerd Urbanity. He's got some awesome stuff. He has started stocking anime figures, seeing that there is a market for that. Plus, I think he knows that I'm addicted to those damn things. So, although I will say I was very good this time. I did not purchase a single thing from the convention.
Not even a grab bag?
No grab bags. I didn't buy an autograph because Christy just kept giving us autographs. Which we do have. She did give us a signed print that we will use. We will give away in some way, shape, or form. I'm still trying to figure out the best way of doing that. I think the weirdest thing was Christy asked us to sign a print for her.
Oh. Start something in the voice acting world. Sounds like fun.
No, instead I'm the one that purchased something, which is actually rare for me. Though my purchase was somewhat practical. And we
You
lost
gonna show us what it was?
I cannot, because it is upstairs. Basically, I snapped my hair elastic almost as soon as I arrived in Vermont, and with the heat and humidity, my purchase was a hairpiece to keep my hair tied back, but nerd themed.
And you had heard us talk about that there was a Railcity exclusive print. This was the print that was offered from Casey Fox with the Railcity logo, our logo, and Ilulu. Of course, Christy signed a copy for us. We gave her one of these as well, which she asked for all of us to sign, including Casey, Angela, and myself. So that was really, really neat. And Christy said that she was going to hang that up. So it's on air now, Christy. You have to do it. And then another print that Casey Fox did was of Rose, the Chimera from Combatants Will Be Dispatched. So we had to have her sign one for us as well. And Christy is such a sweetheart. Absolutely loved having her out. I would definitely have, if I had the, having time and money and stuff, I would definitely want to bring her to a convention again.
She was just a super fun person, super chill, and a total sweetheart.
If you have a chance to meet Christy at a convention, do it. Granted, it was next time if I try to do something like this, I'll make sure that I'm not planning a move at the same time. That's one thing I did learn. But
to be fair, the move was not. This event was planned before the move.
it was. It just so happened that everything came together like rapid
Everything
fire.
compounded at once. Comboed with Christy, comboed with life happening for Christy all at once, so she got back to us super late, and by then you were trying to deal with all the move, the work, the everything.
But looking back on it, I have no regrets. It was definitely an amazing experience, and knowing that Christy had a good time made it all worth it. That was the biggest thing.
And if the only thing she could complain about was airline troubles, well, that's most of us at this point.
Yeah. So it was definitely a fun weekend. Like I mentioned earlier, I did not buy anything from the convention, and I walked away with 3 figures and a couple of autographs. And Casey did an art trade with Space Cow for the Alulu piece that she did, which we absolutely loved. And I realized that I think it was Space Cow who asked Christy to sign Choo Choo Yeah, which is the opening theme song for Dragon Maid Season 1 that Christy is not in. Christy's in Season 2. I'm like, I wonder if she realizes that she had her sign Choo Choo Yeah, which is in the theme song for the first season, not the second. That's just the anime nerd in me. Hello, Melanie. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was fun because Melanie is with Space Cow. She had the booth across from us, and the Alulu piece she had was amazing. I know we showed it off during the live stream, I think on Sunday.
I know we showed off Space Cow's art Saturday.
She says, haha, I'm collecting Choo Choo Yes. That's fair.
That is very fair.
I'm just the nerd that knew the difference between the two. They were both performed by Fauna, the same band that did the opening for both Season 1 and Season 2. It's just Supreme is Season 2 openings. Choo Choo Yeah was Season 1.
Yeah, no.
You shake your head, but I've listened to those songs so damn many times because Evie loves them.
No, I'm shaking my head, but at the same time, I have both. I have shows like that where I have both Season 1 and Season 2 openings in my anime playlist.
And you know the difference. So if somebody's like, oh, I think this was Season 1. No. I know this is Season 2.
Exactly.
But again, thank you to everybody who's tuning in tonight, whether you're tuning in live here on Sunday night or you're listening to us on podcast platforms all over the world. Thank you so much for joining us here on Anime-Zing Radio. If you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon that we need to get more work done with. You can head over to patreon.com/Anime-Zing Radio. Feel free to donate if you wish. And all proceeds will help to upgrade the show, help us to get to conventions, and provide better content and upgrade equipment to provide more quality entertainment for all of you, our friends. But it was so much fun to reconnect with people, and
one of the things that was also a lot of fun was during the live stream, John and a couple of others just going back and forth asking the cosplayers and the vendor and the passersby questions that would get answered.
And that's another thing that's so much fun about live streaming from the conventions is you guys out there. The interaction you get to have with people in other parts of the other parts of the country, or even other parts of the world, because Mario had come in and he's in the UK, so he's talking to people in Vermont that he may never have a chance to meet otherwise.
And I will, and as an aside, with Saturday being as humid as it was, I am surprised that those fursuiters stayed in those get-ups for as long as they did.
Oh, and there was a lot of like
Yeah, we
there.
basically witnessed, like, it must have been like some sort of fursuit meetup or reunion of sorts, and it happened right in front of our table, and just
And I think I think we just had gone live as they started congregating in front of us, and it wasn't even planned.
and so the less camera shy ones just turned around and basically hammed it up for the camera.
And it was great to see, the fursuiters come out, people in cosplay, fandoms of all kinds. What Rail City is not just an anime con; it's a multi-genre con. You have comics. You had, Bill Diamond with all of his puppets, Token with the Dead, which we talked about on the live stream. We could we should clip this, we should clip that. There was one moment that happened before we went live streaming that I wish we could have caught on film. And it was a pure 100% reaction by Angela.
I was gonna say it was probably me reacting to something, because
It was like, think back to when I had the hot cake.
yeah, what did I say? What was it this time?
This time it was the Token with the Dead guys being like, "Oh, we're from the Boston area, down in Plymouth," and you stood up and yelled, "That's not Boston!" And
Yup.
like everybody stopped and stared, and I'm like, "Oh, here goes Angela. There she goes. She's gonna go off on these guys." And it was absolutely hysterical. I wish we could have gotten that on film because that would have made a great clip.
Because Plymouth is not Boston. Yes, when you're from here and you're not in New England, you say that shit. But everybody knows.
Not
Everybody knows that.
everybody.
Or it is assumed that when you say you're from Boston, you don't actually live in the city. That you live at least 20 minutes outside of it.
And Plymouth is a little bit outside of that 20 minutes. It's like an hour.
Plymouth is closer to the Cape.
Yeah.
But I've had this conversation many times with many people, and
It was just really funny.
The results are always really funny.
And at some point we will kidnap Darren and bring him up to the Northeast.
Eventually.
Granted, that would honestly, I feel like that in and of itself would be a series of shorts. Darren experiencing the Northeast.
I haven't experienced the Northeast since I was there for a couple of days for my cousin's wedding and her graduation.
And how many years ago was that?
Mom, how long ago was Brianna's graduation and wedding?
Well, you didn't go to Brianna's wedding. You went to a graduation.
Yeah, we did.
You didn't go to Brianna's wedding.
By the way, that was Marissa's. Sorry. What, 10 years?
That's 18. So Brianna's is about 5.
I think it was like 10 or 12 years. Okay, it would have had to have been 12 years ago because I had my permit at the time. And that was, we were up in New York when we found out about Michael Jackson's death because we were having breakfast at the hotel when someone started talking about it.
Nice try, John. And HH has the comment, wait. You mean to tell me the Mayflower isn't in Boston? Next, you'll tell me the New England Aquarium is in Boston and not in New England.
Technically, that is accurate. The New England Aquarium is, in fact, in Boston, right? Right at the not far from the North End or Haymarket.
And Mystic Aquarium is in Connecticut.
And while the Mayflower is not in Boston, the USS Constitution is.
The Mayflower was right here in Raleigh there for a while, but it was called the Mayflower Restaurant.
I think in the wintertime, I think they actually store the Mayflower down in the Carolina area. And then they sail it back up every year. Every year it takes the voyage. Well, that's just us New Englanders talking crap about the Mayflower.
And Boston in general.
It's wicked awesome up there.
God.
She's like, shut up.
Yep. And I have half-formed ideas for things we can do going forward, but none of that is relevant at this moment.
Like I said, John Knight says, sit boy, but I can't. I don't have the necklace. I used to when I was younger, but it broke. I did cosplay. Well, at the time I didn't know it was cosplay because I dressed up as Inuyasha for Halloween one year, not knowing what cosplay was at the time. But it was a good time out there. And Melanie, if you want to, I see you in the chat. If you want to chime in about your experience at Railcity and let us know how things went for you, we'd love to hear your opinions of it. Like I said, thank you to everybody who had tuned in during the live stream. We had a lot of great interaction. John, I know you love asking everybody if they've seen Show by Rock. That's probably the most asked question in the chat room. Hi, have you seen Show by Rock? Which I have officially packed all the art books and stuff, so I can't show that off to people anymore. Not until after the move. Speaking of which, this is going to be the last time that you see me in this location. Because as of Thursday, we will officially be moving to Pennsylvania and no longer in Plattsburgh, New York. Hence all these boxes that you see behind me, all the packing of stuff. Not to mention I have a storage unit that is already full to the brim, and a second storage unit is going to be needed for all the stuff we have in the house.
And no ball of fluff.
Yeah, I'm not sure where Irons is at the moment.
I was about to say, where are they?
Probably in Evie's room, if I had to guess. And I'm going to shut that AC off for a little bit because I can hear that noise, and that was probably getting annoying to the listener.
Can hear it.
We've got ours going, so I can. So about what I hear is mine.
All I hear is mine.
Thank you, Space Cow. And looking forward, we going to be some changes with the show where there's going to be quite a few times where I'm going to be absent, and you're going to have Angela and Darren taking over hosting jobs and talking with some guests and stuff of that nature. But I will be back from when I can, because my new work schedule is going to be crazy. And there are times when I may be joining from all over the country, depending on where, if my job brings me to a place and I'm in a hotel in Ohio or Pennsylvania or who knows where, in time for the show, I may still be able to join in. So that's going to be an interesting thing to experience that. But I know I'm leaving the show in good hands with Angela and Darren.
We will try not to make a fool out of ourselves.
Any more than I do?
I was going to say, I can't guarantee that. Granted, my impulsive outspokenness has, as we've discussed off air, some of the more memorable clips.
Yeah. And then we could go back through the archives and get all of the Darren snoring compilation together.
I'm actually really curious to how many times I actually did.
I don't know if we've actually ever heard you snore, but we have heard you talk in your sleep.
Wait, really?
a couple of times when you'll start talking, I'll be like, "Oh, Darren, are you there?" Nothing.
I only recall that happening once since I've been on the show.
I'm really curious to hear what I said.
I don't even remember what show it was, but I'm sure it's happened more than once.
The show must go on.
Of course.
And go on it will.
Yep, and it did the time I got stuck with Morgan Berry.
Yeah, that was a fun one too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Your computer deciding to randomly crash during the middle of a show.
So we're going to take...
That was when we were still on Blog Talk, right?
Yeah.
Technical difficulties are a thing that happen.
Well, they used to happen a lot more frequently.
Well, now it's just Doug needs a new computer, but that's not Frankenboxed.
But still, even with the Frankenbox computer, I've had a million times less technical issues than we did with Blog Talk.
Fair.
I think we've had more connection issues with guests than we have with my computer.
I maintain StreamYard seems to hate phones.
Well, they finally fixed it for the dang tablet because I haven't had an issue with it since that one time. So maybe it is fixed.
Well, we'll find out. I'll find out on my end probably next week, because next week is my D&D night where I tend to log in as I'm leaving the house. So we'll see.
That reminds me, I need to actually open up the administrator side of Blog Talk because y'all sent me the stuff and I still have never even used it.
Blog Talk or StreamYard?
Not Blog Talk. I used the Blog Talk one time when I hosted the show and Matt was on.
Yeah.
And I meant StreamYard.
But
it's been a long week.
Oh, I agree with that. The other topic that we were going to talk about tonight was taking a look back at the spring 2023 anime season. Since we all had shows that we've been watching, we all have stuff we can comment on.
The rom-coms ruled the season.
And for once, for the first time in I think a full year, not a single show did any two of us watch simultaneously.
Yep.
Yeah, because I kept up with, and I actually kept up with like 3 animes or 4 animes I actually did watch in their entirities as they were coming out, and I know they were on Darren's list, but he didn't actually start them until after about the time I was done watching.
And and both of you swore up and down you were going to watch one off of the list I just finished.
What, Heavenly Delusion?
No, I didn't actually watch that one. Skip and Loafer, which both of you had on your radar.
Yes, and it still is.
It still is. It's just I have not had much. Like I haven't watched anything on High Dive. I only watched a couple of things on Funimation Crunchyroll, but that also was very limited with everything we had going on.
But with our schedule, it was basically we'd get caught up, then not watch anything for like 2 or 3 weeks, then get caught up again.
During my vacation, I binged, caught up on like 5 or 6 shows, and then I was continuing it, and then starting to have to get up at 4:30 in the morning. It kind of put a stop to that.
So the only out of the 4 shows I was actually keeping up with, 3 are done. And the last episode 12 dropped yesterday, and we haven't watched it yet. But that one already got a season 2 announced.
So you had fun with Mashal.
Mashal was fantastic, and Mashal. We did not watch episode 12. It's fun. It's. I'm not gonna say stupid, but it's very. It's very
Mindless
shonen.
entertainment.
It's very It's every trope. It's a little bit of Black Clover, a little bit of Harry Potter.
I was about to say, because it can really relate to Black Clover simply for the fact he trained because he couldn't use magic.
That was the first thing I picked up on. And the fact that there's a thing that sorts everybody into houses is very Harry Potter-esque, and the house competitions.
Of course.
But it's fun, and it's fun, and it's silly, and it does not take itself seriously in the slightest.
And John Knight in the chat saying that tomorrow he will watch Dr. Stone season 3 part 1 dub finale, and then he watched Demon Slayer season 3 episode 5 dub, and it was the best episode ever.
Demon Slayer is one I need to go back and actually catch up on.
I need to catch up on the whole thing. I was getting flack from one of my employees the other day for it was one of my customers the other day said that I need to get back on the Demon Slayer train. And I'm like, literally, he said, go watch the train arc. It was the best because season 2 and 3 he felt were not as good as the train arc. I'm like, okay.
No, I got a hard time from some of the kids I used to work with. One of them basically obsessed with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and basically gave me a hard time for refusing to watch it.
That's okay. He's a JoJo fan. That explains enough.
Yep. And then
I'm not a JoJo fan, but I've seen JoJo. It's definitely out there weird, but at the same time, I mean, it's got a good story behind it.
It's one of those things from what little I've seen, the writing is enough to make me not want to watch it.
It has nothing to do with the animation and the artwork.
That doesn't fade. That's not a deal. Those aren't deal breakers for me. Like we discussed, Call of the Night. The writing was not to my liking, to the point where I couldn't get past episode, I think, 2.
And HH says JoJo is cringy. It's okay, not my thing, but Space Dandy, that's actually good.
And that brings us back to no matter what your taste is, anime as
a media
is so mainstream. There's something for literally everyone. Case in point of just how there's overlaps, but our tastes are so very different.
Oh yeah. I will say one show that had me pleasantly surprised from this season was, no surprise, Konosuba. But just how well they made the Mega Man arc for Konosuba, and like this gave you a more in-depth of the pathing that Mega Man did before meeting up with the rest of the group. Like they had it planned out to the point of where if you're brand new, if you've never seen a single thing of Konosuba, you have to start with I mean, literally now you can start with Konosuba Explosion on This Wonderful World before you watch the original Konosuba. Because that right there will just tell you Megumin's childhood into when she goes off and before she meets Aqua and everybody else. And then you can go into Konosuba seasons 1, 2, and movie.
I just love how Chamosuke came into the picture. To think he was almost eaten, or she was almost eaten.
Yeah.
Poor kitty cat.
It was just so well done. And yes, Megumin is an adorable character. She's my favorite from the Konosuba franchise.
And that's one show we can agree on for best girl.
Yeah. And it's not like Megumin to me is not waifu. She's more of must protect little sister.
Like Maple.
Like Maple. Like Alba from New Game. You know, the list goes on and on.
Iramanga Sensei.
Anya from Spy Family.
Yeah. But just how they were able to have such a interesting story, and it even included how she got infatuated with explosion magic. What was the event in her life that made her just want to learn explosion magic and no other type? So it was really neat to see that, and then see her quest and how she gained enough levels to learn explosion magic, and then it just continued on from there. So I thought that was absolutely impressive, the way that they set the storyline up in that.
John in the chat says, if you've seen Hell's Paradise, would you recommend it?
I have not seen it.
It's on the list, and it's got a second season confirmed.
I have not seen it either, so...
Another show that I did watch, of course,
John,
season 2's. Oh, what?
John Space Cow in the chat says that their fiance said Hell's Paradise was really good, if that helps.
But in another world with my smartphone, as cringe as people say it is, in season 1, it was, as I said, it was more of a guilty pleasure. Not that the show was fantastic. It was just a fun, mindless show to watch. Season 2 kind of blew me away with the fact that they actually developed a storyline. They were actually working towards something. And it wasn't just how big can his harem get. They actually were trying to figure out what these creatures were that had started to show up and that they had to try to defeat. And then there was also interactions with other nations, which were pretty interesting in and of themselves. So I give the writers of that credit for turning a guilty pleasure, mindlessly fun anime into something that actually developed a storyline.
It kind of reminds me of Ari Fuerta, for the fact that he's going around finding these locations set up by a previous person to take on a threat. Kind of like how Ari Fuerta, they had different dungeons with similar rewards for finding them. Well, in that case, beating them, but it's like every one you find or unlock, you gain another quote unquote superpower / wealth of knowledge on the world you're in.
And in this one, it was like every time that he found these portals to another section of Babylon that was from ancient times, like 5,000 years previously, it was kind of neat to see, okay, well, which one is it? He knows that there's a bunch of different kinds, and it's interesting to see how they've mixed everything in and kind of jumbled it up as to, okay, well, he starts with the garden, then he finds this one, and oh, look, there's the warehouse, and there's the manufacturing one and the library, and although the control terminals, the female control bots, were definitely an interesting mix in the situation.
Interesting isn't the word, but something was to be said about the professor.
Yeah. And John says, bless you, Angela.
Thank you.
And HH says, the phrase kind of take over the story for a little while, but I just don't like how they did it. Hopefully they improve that by the time that part gets animated. Which they did leave it wide open for a season 3 for smartphone.
That'll
And
be one of the first isekai, useless, quote unquote, questionable, useless, questionable isekai to get a second season. There you go.
well, it got a second season, and seeing if it gets a third.
A third season. Excuse me. Because how many isekais have a more than 2 seasons? Not very many.
Slime, I think.
Well, Slime, yeah, and Overlord, but
Overlord.
aside from those two, what else?
Konosuba. Because season 3 has been announced.
Uh-huh.
Plus, it's had a bunch of spin-offs and a movie.
Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about trophy, overpowered MC isekais.
My Hero Academia. No.
That's not an isekai.
You did that on purpose.
I know.
I couldn't resist that one. That was just funny. Even Darren laughed at that one, so I count that as a win.
You two going on down the isekai path.
Hey, we had to get you involved somehow.
Most I know the shows you're talking about, but I haven't seen them, so I have nothing to contribute.
I will say this much, Ange. In Another World with My Smartphone is another one of those shows that if you're gonna watch it, go in with no expectations. Just go in saying this is just gonna be mindlessly, stupidly entertainment. I'm not expecting anything from it. I just want to sit back and watch some dude who got struck by lightning because God dropped a lightning bolt while playing with it.
Literally.
And makes him overpowered.
That's why I watch. Effectively, that's why I watch a lot of shonen. Because I know most of it's overrated and not all of it's good, but it's fun.
I think you would have fun. I mean, yes, he does develop into a harem, but one thing I can honestly say about Smartphone is there's very little in the ecchi department.
There really is.
Unlike a lot of other harem anime, they don't really branch into the ecchi side of things.
And I think we're gonna. We looked ahead to the season that's about to start, and it looks like there's
the crazies you were asking about.
Yep. It looks like there's going to be more ecchi these upcoming couple of seasons than there has been recently.
Oh, I'm down for that. I'm down for a change, but
depending on.
I was gonna say.
Go on.
Yeah. I was gonna say before we switch too much into next season, I want to go over some more stuff from this season. For the simple fact, there was one genre that dominated this season.
I will agree with that.
And that would be the rom-coms. There was a lot this season, and a lot of them were really good. I did not watch Skip and Loafer, but I know it had good ratings, and it was originally on my watch list.
I would argue Skip and Loafer's not a rom-com, but a good slice of life and a good young romance.
Well, let's just take out the comedy part and put romance in general.
Fair.
Because for rom-coms, you had Dangers in My Heart, Tonikawa Season 2.
But I could go on at length about why everybody should watch Skip and Loafer, but
I've heard good things about Insomniacs After School as well.
I have two. It's kind of like Call of the Night to an extent, just for the fact you got two people that meet each other because well, it, because of the night, and also they share a similar issue. Well, at least these two do. So I heard that one turns into a nice romance, and it's also on my list.
The Cafe Terrence and Its Goddesses was a rom-com. That was decent. I haven't finished it. Etchy very much. Comedy fantasy with some romance, and that one is My One Hit Kill Sister. I did finish that one. It was interesting, obnoxious. There was some very funny parts. There was parts in there that I felt was just way over the top. How much affection the sister has for her little brother is absolutely redonkulously annoying at times. The fact that she's so overpowered is stupid, but the interesting thing is the main male character, Asahi, really shows like true, even though he's not overpowered, like he can't like defeat demons and stuff in a single swing or a snap of his finger, but he shows a lot of strength in his own right. And I think if you can get past how obnoxious his sister is and how stupid some of the things are that happens in that, it really shows the growth of inner strength for Asahi. I will give it that much.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go ahead.
I was gonna say, and another one that not many people talked about, and kind of on the lesser end of the spectrum, was My Clueless First Friend. Basically, and this takes place in the elementary school years, but you have a girl that's basically bullied for her looks, and then you have a transfer student, a guy that's eccentric and loves to see the positive in everything. So while she's getting bullied, what the people around him consider edgy and depressing and weird, he sees it as cool, which develops into a friendship between him and the girl, and eventually leads to romantic feelings there toward the end of the season. I haven't seen all of it, but definitely a cute, wholesome series. Kind of reminded me of One Week Friends and several other rom-coms.
And a shout out to Kaya Tanu in the chat room. Not to jump in there, I just happened to see Kaya is in there. Kaya is back to streaming on Twitch. A lot of you might remember the VTuber we had on last year. He's got his setup back going, so if you have a chance, check them out on Twitch. John Knight asking, would you recommend The Ancient Magus' Bride? Season one was amazing. Season 1 was amazing. My wife is absolutely loving season 2. I've only seen the first episode of season 2 just because of lack of time. But the story behind that all is fantastic. I would recommend to anybody to give it a shot.
And HH's comment in response to that, I prefer Death March anyway, but I don't think the next season will be out anytime soon.
Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That was okay.
Someone said that, one of my friends said that was his favorite light novel and that the anime did not portray the greatness behind it. Because apparently it's one of the better isekais, at least in terms of the novel.
And sometimes that just happens where an anime that is based on a different media just does not hold up to its original media form.
Unfortunately, when it doesn't happen very often, but for some reason, sometimes a visual representation is not as good as what you read, I guess, because you come up with your own imagination for how certain things are supposed to go in your head. And then when you see them portrayed different from how you imagine them, it kind of disappoints you.
And I was watching one of the Trash Taste episodes recently, and they actually were talking about this with one of the shows that they watched, where there was a certain like manga artist whose work, like, you could just read the manga and every frame in that manga just jumped out and told an amazing story. And when they went to put it into anime form, you knew there was just very, like, they said there was, it just felt like there wasn't a studio out currently that could do the manga justice as it does when you read it, just because the feelings and the emotions that are in these pictures, and it's just you're looking at a picture and you can feel the emotions, you can feel the action from just a still picture, that they felt that when they tried to put it in anime form, they just could not replicate those feelings. And that's sometimes things that gets lost when you're going from a manga to an anime or a light novel to an anime. Sometimes it's tough to convey the emotion, the raw emotion you feel when reading it, and then you go back and watch it.
And then the other thing is when you take anime that's based on a video game, a lot of times that doesn't always go do as well as one would expect for similar reasons.
Conception.
That's not what I was referring to, but you know.
But it was a good example. I thought you opened the door. I had to take it.
I was referring to one I watched last season that was okay, but from the very first episode, we had the conversation of this feels like a video game, and then we did the lookup. Oh, it's based on a video game, and it's basically in the middle of the story, or like this is the one season of anime was a story that was supposed to take place between two video games in the same franchise.
Which was
looking it up because now I don't remember.
Wait, no. Another show that I absolutely loved was Kuma Bear, of course, and Kuma Bear was one of those ones that didn't need a second season. But man, I'm so glad that they made a second season because it was so much better than the first, in my opinion. Watching Fina yell at Yuna in one episode, calling her irresponsible with how she spends her money and everything, was hysterical. It's just one of those just pure, good-hearted, fun, cute animes to watch.
Legend of Heroes Northern War.
Okay.
The video game franchise is Trials of Cold Steel.
I've never heard of any of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fairly old JRPG franchise.
Okay. That's probably why I hadn't heard of it, because I wasn't... I kind of was in and out of JRPGs or RPGs in general, here or there.
Yep. And Kaya knows what I'm talking about, because Kaya says they love the series. They did an anime. It was okay. If you played the games, I'm sure it makes perfect sense.
Now, I'm talking about games being turned into anime. I'm curious. I want to kind of look ahead to see when.
There's definitely another anime adaptation of a video game on the summer upcoming list. But
Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through ahead a little bit to see what may be coming out. Because I know that there's a video game that's getting an anime adaptation. I just don't know when that's going to be released, and it may not even come out till next year.
and that's not including Genshin.
Oh, that's the one I was referring to as Genshin.
Oh. Yeah, we've heard bits and pieces about that. But I maintain that if the anime comes out, it's a different voice cast, I'll actually be upset.
Yeah. And you know, we've been lucky enough to have had multiple voice actors from Genshin Impact on the show. And like I've said before, I played it for about an hour and a half total. But the gameplay is absolutely stunning. The artistry behind it is amazing, and they've really done a great job. I hope that they can encompass that into an anime form, because even though I'm not like a diehard Genshin Impact person, I kind of have high hopes that it's going to be half as good as what I've seen from the game. And that's just visually and storyline. If they don't include Paimon, it won't hurt my feelings, but that's besides the point.
But I feel like if they didn't have the I feel like if they completely redid the cast, that would be a disservice.
Yeah. And you know, the joke about Paimon has nothing to do with casting or anything like that. Paimon just gets annoying after a while, and somebody really needs to change her diaper.
Well, all right. And
Atelier Riza episode 1 just dropped, streaming the game at moment.
Nice.
Oshinoko Space Cow is asking about that. I think Angela, you and I both saw that at the same time.
Yup, because I was just going to bring that up to answer that. I haven't watched it. I've heard mixed reviews. A lot. It's very highly rated, but and Ikaya Tanu also says it was so good. It might be worth doing one of those free trials of High Dive and binging it.
Episode 1 is like an hour and a half long.
Yep.
Which I think that's the main reason I have not started it, but I know that Casey has watched it and has said that it was really good. Thought that would be up my alley. I've also heard that it gets really in depth into some of the dark sides of idol culture. So
which means it might be up my alley as well.
And you know, I've heard controversy regarding it to just how realistic it feels with some of the topics that they cover. And Kaya says, and the dark side of the entertainment industry. So So I think it's up. Like I think it's one of those shows that could be up multiple people's alley.
I do enjoy the darker stuff. I also love a good deep dive. Not quite like what might not quite be a documentary style, but deep dive into the different industries.
And I apologize about the phone going off. A buddy of mine was updating me about the NASCAR race, which is going on right now. Through the streets, for the first time in NASCAR history, the Cup Series is running a street road course race in the city of Chicago. And Australian V8 Supercar champion Shane Van Gisbergen is currently leading the race with 3 laps to go. So I have to he's trying to call again because I think he wants to talk about it, but I'm like, I'm on the air. And as a fun side note, I do have like DraftKings, and I did pick Shane Van Gisbergen as one of my drivers, so that would be exciting to see somebody win in their first ever start in NASCAR. And he's coming from another country. I think he's from like New Zealand or something like that.
Now what's been on my feed all day has been the NHL free agency just started. And the draft just ended. So goodbye record-setting Boston team.
Yep. Well, that's okay. As soon as I got to the play, it doesn't mean anything because I got to the playoffs and forgot what hockey was. So
no, the management made some bad decisions and let battered and broken players keep playing.
But still,
when your goalie is playing with a broken rib and is still playing like a decent goalie. But I digress.
That'll be the next anime.
I would enjoy that. Sports anime are very hit or miss, but I would watch a hockey one.
The only sports anime I watched was Keijo.
And Keijo was still really good.
Darren, I actually think you would enjoy Yuri on Ice.
No.
No, in all honesty, Yuri on Ice was really good. If you get past the fact that it's a yaoi anime. And I think the yaoi side of it is more of the fangirls pushing the issue more so than what was actually happening.
The romance aspect was really well done. They nailed figure skating as an industry.
That's what intrigued me about it, was the artistry of how well they animated figure skating. Even professional figure skaters were amazed at how well it was done.
And it was so, the show was so well done. That's another one I will recommend.
I want to see like an actual, like, not Initial D or something like that, but an actual like auto racing anime.
Not an anime, but there's a live action film adaptation of a racing video game.
That just sounds weird.
I know I poorly explained that, but I saw it when we saw Fast X in theaters. It was one of the trailers where basically some video game kid who plays nothing competitive, like esports racing games, basically tries to be a NASCAR, a race car driver in real life. You see where this is going?
No, the reason I'm laughing is because that actually has happened.
Well, they're
and his name is Josh Berry, and he was just recently announced to take over for Kevin Harvick in the number 4 car in the NASCAR Cup Series. He started on the he started through iRacing against Dale Earnhardt Jr. Had never driven a race car in his life. Junior put him in one of his experimental cars, and now he'll be driving in the Cup Series full time next year, replacing one of the legends of the sport.
But that was a trailer, and the premise is so...
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but we'll see.
It's ridiculous, and then it has happened.
But
that's a story for another time.
But no, I think... but as far as the spring anime that just finished, the one... I think the other one... One of the other ones that I finished that I didn't actually talk a lot about was My Home Hero. And that one was just trippy. It was really good, but it was also just kind of trippy.
Oh, that was the one about the guy's daughter was dating somebody from the Yakuza, and then he killed them and had
technically not labeled as Yakuza, but might as well be.
But, Japanese gang.
The organization is how they are referred to.
I've heard a bit about that one. It wasn't on my radar to watch.
No, that does not surprise me in the slightest. I enjoyed it. But everyone trying to outthink everybody else, basically like out of a spy novel, that was actually really well done.
I just realized the 4 animes that I watched and finished, and this should surprise no one, were all isekai.
I think my completed list is going to be the biggest surprise. Because 2 on mine were more slice of life stuff than anything else.
Well, slice of life, you've said that you enjoy slice of life if it's done with a good story.
A good story is is ultimately what keeps... That's the deal breaker for me. It has to be a good story. For some people, it's the art style. For some people, it's other details.
I mean, if I find there's times I'll check out anime if I see cute characters. I mean, did anybody watch The Legendary Hero Is Dead?
That was on my radar.
No.
I heard that one was hilarious.
Because I see it's labeled as action, comedy, fantasy. And I've heard some people say that it was good, but I wasn't sure.
Space Coast said it was really fun, and Kaya Tanu says heading off to bed. Good night, Kaya.
Have a good night, Kaya. Thank you for tuning in. And like I said, anybody who's got Twitch, check out the Kaya Tanu channel. Usually he's playing games and having fun over there. We'll see what we can do about getting Kaya back on the show again. It was fun having them on before with their avatar up and explaining more of behind the scenes of what it's like to do VTubing, which that was a lot of fun. We actually learned quite a bit about VTubing that we didn't know. And I remember you even said that was more entertaining and educational than you expected.
Yep, because VTubing at that point was something I knew almost nothing about beyond it exists.
And there are a lot of adorable avatared VTubers out there.
If you have the technology, there's so much you can do with them.
Oh, yeah. It'd be something that if I had more time, could be fun to look into if I had more time, money, and equipment. But I think it would be fun to do the show in a VTuber version of our mascot. That could be kind of fun. That could be kind of fun. Just be anime and just do all that stuff. Go and get all the technology for a voice changer and Space Cow says that their model is designed, but rigging is terrifying. Space Cow, if you have any questions, I can get you in contact with Kaya, and they can help you with all the information you need.
I know that at PAX East last year, there was at least one VTubing 101 panel. I know at least one of the panelists on it that was on it. That may or may not have been one of the ones that was live streamed at the time and might still exist. I don't know. But VTubing is becoming more and more popular. More and more panels are coming up at some of the conventions. So keep an eye out for that.
And it's funny, speaking of conventions, because there's so many like hidden panels at conventions, stuff that I may not be on my radar, but it's on yours, or may not be on yours or mine, but Darren would be interested in, or somebody else. Like panels about VTubing. I know at Anime-Zing they put the podcasting panel against the VTubing panel.
Because one, trying to schedule an event is complicated.
Yeah.
And two, the organizers probably didn't see the overlap in audience.
Yep. And but VTubing is becoming very popular, and not just like a regular model, but they're getting into the 3D models where the virtual reality, some of the characters, some of the creators are able to get full body shots where they're running in their room and you can see the full outline of them. And Philion was one that I recently started watching, thanks to YouTube clips of random like best VTuber moments or best timing VTuber moments. And I think some of the stuff that makes the VTubers fun to watch is the ability to incorporate like sound bites. People who tip can tip enough to, or can do what they call bits, and each you put a certain amount of bits in, you get a different sound effect. A lot of them like to go after the inner 5-year-olds in all of us with like toilet humor. And me having an internal 5-year-old, always have to laugh at some of the stuff. And there's times I think Philion was one of the ones where they had to do sit-ups, and every time that they went to do a sit-up, the fart sound was played at the perfect time. Hello. And they did it 4 times in a row, or 3 or 4 times in a row, which like the timing on that was unbelievable. I'm dying laughing at it, and they're getting frustrated. And hello, Ross. So glad you could join us.
But I suppose, like everything else, that's kind of the difference is, for me, I'm more of a podcast person as opposed to VTubing, because I can throw on an audio podcast and have it while I'm doing everything else.
Oh, yeah. Now, switching gears and taking a little bit of time to look ahead at the summer anime that's getting ready to come out.
There's a lot of stuff on my list.
There's very little on mine.
There's very little on mine, actually, as well.
Remind me, Ange, was it you or Casey that watched Horimiya?
That must have been Casey, because that was not me.
Yeah, that was Casey, and I think she was mentioning earlier today that she went back and rewatched it.
Well, there's more of it starting today.
There's also more Jobless Reincarnation.
Yes. and also more the
Jujutsu Kaisen.
that too. No, help me here. It aired last season.
Well, you have more Eminence in Shadow. Season 2 is
Thank
coming
you.
out.
Evidence and Shadow. Yes, season 2 is airing this season.
Rent a
More
Girlfriend Season 3.
Masamune season 2, which was supposed to air this past season. Your favorite, Rent a Girlfriend season 3.
Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2 sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And
more Bungo Stray Dogs.
more of a lot of things.
The Duke of Death and His Maid Season 2.
I'm just gonna,
That was one that was on my list that I wanted to watch but never did.
I'm gonna point out Ross's comment from the chat that he's watching 18 shows, but removed Tensei from the list.
Really?
Yep.
Ross, you're gonna have to give an explanation to that one.
He's replacing it with Vending Machine.
You replaced one of the best isekai out there with potentially one of the worst.
And then Space Cow says Fate Strange Fake.
More Fate. And we're also getting more Bleach.
Ross didn't actually say that, Darren. I was just poking fun about the fact that, and like I said before, I am gonna watch this anime for the pure and simple fact I am expecting it to be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And title, Reborn as a Vending Machine, Now I Wander the Dungeon.
Mm.
And the synopsis of this show reads, a vending machine fanatic meets his demise when he is, quite ironically, crushed by a vending machine. To his dismay, he finds himself reincarnated as a vending machine in another world. Having re-emerged within a forest inhabited by frogmen and other monsters, and supplied with only two products, Boxo the vending machine requires coins to keep itself stocked, powered, and upgraded with new skills.
They're bringing back Rurouni Kenshin.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that's going to be something like what they did with Trigun Stampede, or if it's going to be a reboot or a continuation. I don't know. That's going to be interesting.
Super Apple Fairy Tale Part 2. So another season 2.
Yep. Let's see. There's something else.
Here's one that might be up here.
More Mononogatari. More Bang Dream. Like that hasn't had enough seasons.
Here's one that might be up Angela's watch alley for watching. The Gene of AI. It's titled. It's classified as drama, sci-fi, and suspense.
I think that I don't remember if I put that on my list or no. Yes, I did. That's on my watch list.
I called that one.
Okay,
What about Undead Girl Murder Force?
I don't. That one I don't know. But my summer season watch list has 4 shows on it. But Gene of AI is one of them. What's the other one? Reign of the Seven Spellblades is another one.
Zom 100?
Nope.
Dark Gathering?
Yes. Zombie, I just kind of got tired of as its own genre.
I know Liar Liar's on my radar.
I was gonna say I saw that and went, Darren's gonna that's gonna be on Darren's list.
What do you think? What do you think would be on my list?
Sequel or non-sequel?
Just in general, because I really don't have much that I am planning
Uh,
on watching.
well, the
I
first
would hope Zone 100 would be on your list.
What is it?
Psalm
One.
100.
Oh,
No, that
See, I would have expected. See, the one obvious one is is vending machine.
yeah.
mhm.
In this one's not listed as an isekai, but it should be, and I feel like, um, but it's a little bit down. Am I actually the strongest? And it's labeled as an adventure fantasy, but the synopsis starts to be reincarnated into another world with the promise of a quote cheat power. ...
Yeah, is one thing. But
That
to be
sounds.
reborn as a baby and then left for dead after your royal parents think you're powerless.
But I could.
Themes isekai reincarnation.
Okay, there we go. That sounds like a Doug. Sounds like it would be one Doug would check out.
Maybe that's turned into a possibility.
Another scrolling through another one for another ecchi for Darren. Classroom for Heroes.
I was just reading the synopsis on that, and that might be one that I look at.
Which one is that? What's the Jap? Oh, never mind, found it. There's one further up that you missed that's definitely on my radar.
Which one?
It's near the top.
Well, you guys already mentioned Rent a Girlfriend.
Right below that.
Right.
Oh, Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2?
No.
The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses.
Bingo.
Oh, that's beside it on mine.
Same. Another one for you guys. My Happy Marriage. It's a fantasy romance.
Okay. Let's see. Which one was this one? The Dreaming Boy is a Realist?
That is one that is a potential. It's a rom-com, which is up your alley, Darren.
Yep.
You know, for S and G's, because in that entire row for me is Classroom for Heroes, Dreaming Boy is a Realist, and Vending Machine. I might just check out that entire row just to see.
Oh, here's one for you, Doug. My unique skill makes me OP even at level 1.
Why did I?
Harem Isekai Reincarnation.
I should have put Undead Murder Farce on my list. The most heretical last boss queen from villainous to... Oh, this might be a season 2.
For what?
Or no, the most... It's just too long of a... It's too long of a title. The most heretical last boss queen from villainous to savior.
Is that another light novel reincarnation?
Yeah, it's another isekai reincarnation, and yes, it is based on a light novel.
I swear, they started a whole trend with that. There's what, 3 or 4 shows that have come out recently?
The Masterful Cat is depressed again today.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That just looks kind of weird by the art style. That one didn't intrigue me at all.
Fair.
Here you go, Doug. Here's another food anime. Delicious and Dungeon.
Delicious and Dungeon?
Yes.
Here.
Where is that?
It's right below The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again today. It's Studio Trigger.
It's about cooking monsters. He expresses his desire to cook a dragon. I tell you what, Toru's in the wrong anime.
You know, episode one was previewed at a screening during Anime Expo yesterday. Regular broadcasting will begin
July 1st, it said that it dropped.
However,
Delicious
regular broadcasting will begin January 2024.
I love it when they do the whole half a year ahead schedule.
And oh my god.
Here's another one. Sweet Reincarnation. A patissiere gets reincarnated.
HH says Cookie Monster has an anime. I'll watch it. John Knight says the only two anime that he plans on watching in summer is Devils a Part-Timer Season 2, Part 2, and Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2.
And then we further down another sci-fi anime for my watch list.
Which is
Synduality Noir.
okay. And right above that is another one for Doug.
Spy Classroom.
No, Spy Classroom I need to finish. But Level 1 Demon Lord and One Room Hero.
Yeah, that's Doug.
I was actually looking at Sweet Reincarnation. Another food anime.
But no, Spy Classroom was decent. It was not the greatest show. It took a while to actually figure out what was going on. But I don't know if I'd watch the second season of it.
Bang Dream, as much as I've enjoyed some idol animes, Bang Dream was one I never even paid attention to.
Oh, The Misfit of Demon King Academy resumes this season. Ayakashi Triangle resumes this season. Both of those were shows that were aired in winter that were put on pause because of COVID. And that reminds me, I need to finish Kubo, Won't Let Me Be Invisible, because that re-aired this season, and it is adorable. And this season, there's also going to be an OVA for Tonikawa.
I need to go back and watch season 2 of Tonikawa.
I watched the first episode, but never made it past that because I've been slammed with work and have not had time to do anything.
For what it is worth, going all the way down, in July there's going to be a special for quintessential quintuplets.
The Quints get a special, and so does Jobless Reincarnation.
And Fate.
And now let's see what's hidden by
I thought Psychopass was supposed to be this season. That must be winter.
Or fall.
Or fall.
Fall has Rising of the Shield Hero Season 3, Spy Family Season 2, Dr. Stone New World Part 2, Tokyo Revengers, Fairway Paladin Season 2,
Holy.
Girlfriend Season 2,
Yeah, not looking
Dead
forward
Mount
to
Death
that
Play
one.
Part 2. So this Tokyo Revengers.
One, two. Good God.
I'm in Love with the Villainous. That sounds like it'd be up Darren's alley.
Not at all. I see that there's 11 hentai releasing this season. Because you got to turn off the filter.
Yeah, I have the filters off. Idol Masters, another version of that. Weren't we supposed to get more of Killing Slimes for 300 Years coming up?
That might be in the TBA section. I don't remember.
I know a season 2 was announced for that, but
Well, now that we're talking about stuff that was announced, we can talk about probably one of the most shocking announcements that came out of Anime Expo.
okay, and that is
A show from 16 years ago or more is getting more content, and that is Panty and Stocking. And it's going to be done by Studio Trigger.
that's exciting because Panty and Stocking was entertaining, and I'm very curious to see how Studio Trigger takes that storyline and runs with it.
I'm really curious to see if Funimation gets the rights to it and if they're going to basically recast a lot of the same people if possible. Considering that was one you grilled several voice actors on.
I just looked at the chat. Ross says, sips tea and water, waiting for my comments to be noticed. Ross says, by the way, by the way,
The Strongest is actually quite ecchi. Watched it yesterday, and the Red-Headed Wolf. Oh boy.
Is thirsty for our baby main character.
I did notice it.
And in regards to dropping Tensei from his watch list, Darren Ross says, I realized I'm attached to Eris in the show. When Tensei was airing, it was a good show, but the time the two cores were released was long by almost a year and 2 years between seasons 1 and 2. So I decided I lost interest because what people said, Eris will not be in the new season.
We shall see, because Aries is still a part of the story. So, and I guarantee you, this will probably be one of the animes that adapts the light novel, hopefully in its entirety, just for the significance of this series.
And I did look ahead on the My Anime list at later, and it's still stuff that's listed for to be announced on when they were going to air. Konosuba Season 3 is coming out in 2024. Goblin Slayer second season is supposed to come out. It's at some point in 2023, but no date as of yet.
Spice and Wolf is getting a reboot. Yes, I saw that.
Yep.
Excited about that because that was fantastic. Reincarnated as a Slime third season, April of 2024.
Hype.
ReZero season 3. My Hero Academia season 7.
Mashal's getting a season 2. I'm actually excited about that one. Another one for 2024 that I'm actually excited for, I learned after that is a reboot, Bartender Kami no Glass.
Oshinoko Season 2 has been announced for
Yep.
some point in the future. Killing Slimes for 300 Years is still on the TBA list. No date as of yet as to when that's going to be coming out. Reincarnated as a Sword second season. I'm excited about that. The first season was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Date
Yep.
Alive Season 5. I couldn't get through Season 4. Detective is Already Dead Season 2.
HH from the chat. The world of Otome games is tough for mobs, is surprisingly good. Technically a rom-com, isekai, and sci-fi, but the animation quality isn't that great.
The Saint's Magic Power is Omnipotent Season 2. Season 1 of that was fantastic. That is a fantasy. That's kind of a fantasy rom-com. Had a really good storyline to that, so I'm excited about that.
And Ross is claiming the plot from one of his favorite manga, which is the anime is coming out January 2024, and it's one apparently you two will like.
Okay.
And what's
But what's the title?
Or let me see if I can take a guess.
And there's more Fooly Cooly coming out.
Tales of the Wedding Rings.
Yes, you've mentioned that.
Banished from the Heroes Party is getting more.
Yep.
Second season.
Date Alive 5. Oh, look, To Your Eternity is getting more.
And it looks like the Maid Cafe one, Terran's Maid Cafe, is getting a second season.
Oh, here's one for me. Ha 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 ha. My friend's little sister has it in for me.
I saw that and thought of you immediately. Love Live Superstar third season.
Ooh, Laid Back Camp. Gate the Infinity's getting a second season.
Yep. Uma Musume is getting a third season.
Skate the Infinity. Skate the Infinity was really good. A part of I'm looking forward to season 2, although I'm not sure where they're going to go with it. One Punch Man season 3.
I see several rom-coms in here that I would watch. MF Ghost and High Card's getting a new season. Wow.
There are some shows that are getting new seasons that I don't think need new seasons, but that's
Tokyo Babylon 2021. Oh, I'm getting more Grasatia. Yes.
Darren's excited.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of rom-com and stuff that I would like. I was reincarnated as the seventh prince, so I can take my. I heard about this one. So I can take my time perfecting my magical ability. Ooh, more horse girls.
That's up your alley.
No, so that actually is a good show. The weakest tamer began a journey to pick up trash. There you go, Doug.
Where is that one?
Here's one, Doug. No longer allowed in Another World.
These shows are getting ridiculous.
2.5 Dimensional Seduction. I have no interest in real girls. Oh, actually, this might not be bad, Doug. I have no interest in real girls, so claims Okamura, the president of the school's manga club. He's your typical otaku obsessed with sexy fictional 2D manga characters known as Lily. Then the new school year starts and a real 3D girl named Lilisa, whose passion is cosplay, joins the club. Convinces him to
Become her photographer, and guess who her favorite manga character is? Not only that, but Lissy is also into modeling the fetishy stuff. The boundaries between 2D and 3D start to blur as this hot-blooded romantic comedy unfolds.
That sounds totally up my alley. And let's see.
And
After that, my instant death ability is so overpowered, no one in this other world stands a chance against me.
they've got a VTuber anime coming at some point.
I've heard about this.
VTuber legend: How I Went Viral After Forgetting to
Turn off my camera.
Turn Off My Stream. It's based on a light novel.
Here you go, Ange.
It's going to be produced by Katakawa, so it has the potential of being good.
God's game we play.
I saw that. Where was that?
The supreme gods who had too much free time created the ultimate brain games, Play of the Gods.
Okay. That's got promise.
The Unwanted Undead Adventurer.
More Card Fight Vanguard. Season 7, 8, and 9.
What the heck? A bartender anime?
Yeah, that's the one I mentioned. It's actually a reboot from years ago. It's actually a reboot of an old one, but that's on my radar.
Villainous level 99. I may be the hidden boss.
Another figure skating anime, or this is Ice Dancer, it says in the synopsis, but Medalist.
Ice dancing is a different sport than figure skating.
Well, I saw like ice skates, and I was like, so that's why I thought it was going to be a figure skating one. And then I read the synopsis. I said, becoming an ice dancer. He decided to take on figure skating and ended up becoming a ice dancer. That's where the figure skating side of things was.
Quality assurance in another world. How many?
We will never. I think we're at the point now of there are just a couple of genres that we will never escape more shows coming out from, and that's shonen and isekai.
Yep.
More Idolmaster.
More Fate.
Let me know when there's going to be more Shine Post. Shine Post was fantastic. And Ross says, "Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There is a pole dancing anime coming out. No joke."
I actually think that's going to be one that we watch.
That might be one that all of us watch.
Why not? Let's see. Here's another figure skating anime. Medalist.
I was just talking about that one, and and it turns out it's more ice dancing than figure skating.
Quality assurance in another world. I think I'm finally catching up to y'all.
Well, you guys went off on a tangent, and I went all the way down. But
that's normally the case.
ONAs. That's a lot of Chinese anime.
But these are all shows that are TBA on when they're going to get released.
So some of them are hype. Others sound ridiculous. Others sound interesting. Others Who cares?
I think there's, yeah.
I think we've come to just expect that anime is going to continue to be ridiculous, and we will continue to watch it to see just how ridiculous levels it goes.
And we will continue to give each other crap for our decisions when it comes to anime.
Yep.
And Doug will instigate me to say ridiculous things.
Oh, by the way, before we end up on this, there's several movies coming out. More Madoka Magica, more Overlord, more Bunny Girl, and Bocchi the Rock's actually getting a movie.
So is
Nice.
Spy Family, allegedly.
And Zombieland Saga,
And Skate the Infinity.
and Sword Art Online. Again,
Yuri on Ice, the movie.
Ranking of King. Oh, Girls and Panzer's getting another movie, Doug.
Nice.
Part 5.
Yeah, there's so much Girls and Panther
And
stuff.
6.
Blue Lock is getting a movie.
But-
Cherry and Virgin.
But on that note, it is 10 o'clock. We've got to sign off. But I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. We will be back here again next Sunday night. It could be just Angela and Darren, or I could be joining in from Georgia. You never know. Until then, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Happy 4th of July to everybody out there. Stay safe. Keep watching anime, and we will see you again right here for more Anime-Zing Radio on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.